The SI system discussion. So the SI system, we would call it here in the United States the International System of Units, and it comes from French, which I can't say, but you can see it listed here, and I'm going to go over to a translation of that since I can't say it.
Système international d'unité.
And the whole reason why it's there is so that we have a systematic way to report findings, scientific findings. Scientists wanted a way to share information with other people in the world, and since many different countries use different standards for their measurements, that made it very hard to share scientific findings. So the SI system was put into place to unify ways of showing work. And most of this is based off the metric system because that was used by most of the world, and it also turns out to be a really useful way to make your measurements. Now, some of you might be saying, ugh, the metric system, I hate the metric system, and that makes sense because we're very unfamiliar with it here in the United States. We don't use it all that often, which is kind of unfortunate because it's all based on powers of 10, which means that converting from one unit to another is very easy as long as you can learn a mnemonic device, which we will look at here in a little bit. What you're going to need to know, though, would be some of the SI base units. So base units are units that are just the straight up unit. They're equal to a standard, and they're not the result of doing anything to that unit. So a unit of length is a meter. That's the one that you need to know. It's the official SI unit. The unit of mass is a kilogram. The unit of temperature is Kelvin. The unit of time is a second, and then the amount of a substance would be measured in moles. You won't know about moles yet, but that's just a way to measure quantities that are useful as far as particles go. I do want to point out that the base unit of the SI system is different than the metric base unit. In some cases, specifically for kilogram, we have the gram as the base unit in the metric system, but the kilogram is the base unit for SI system. Then we have something called derived units, and a derived unit is when you have to do a calculation to put that unit together. So on the previous page, we didn't have anything to measure volume, and that's because volume can be measured by three distances put together, length times width times height. And because it's a calculated type value, that makes it a derived unit. Density, mass divided by volume, that's a calculation, and then a weight is going to be also a derived unit like newtons or pounds. Now we talked about a mnemonic device to remember these metric prefixes, and the mnemonic device that I have provided for you, you don't have to use it, but you could use it if you'd like, would be King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, where the first letter of each of those words represents the prefix for the metric system. If you can remember those letters, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, remember that phrase to write the letters, you're going to be in good shape. And I'll show you how you can use this mnemonic to do your metric conversions later on. Now, I do want to just show you how to use the mnemonic. So what I would expect to see on a worksheet or anytime you have anything that's going to be metric based or SI system based, I want you just to take that mnemonic phrase, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, and go ahead and write down those first letters. So I'd expect to see at the top of your sheet, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Let me focus that again here. And then this would be DA, so that's just something you have to remember. And then underneath base is grams, liters, meters. And that's also something you just need to remember. These base units are then going to be used with these 6 prefixes, where you could put a K in front of a G, you could put an H in front of an L, you could put a DA in front of a C, in front of an M, and that would be how you would take the prefix with the basic unit. And if we're at this stage of the mnemonic, you would just write down grams or liters or meters. So that's the SI system. We're going to use it in class. Specifically, we're going to be using the metric system of measurement and being able to convert from those different metric units.